كيسمعك بسم الله هذاك البلوك نوت اللي انا نعطيها لك دابا في الشكر. اش هي ديك الشكر حداك؟ نعطيك اللابتوب ديالك؟ لا صافي. البلوك نوت هذيك اللي درت فيها التعريف ديالي. شوف واش الخط باين كلشي ولا مين؟ السفر اليوم
ستيلو كاين نبدلو هنايا صباح هنا غتزيد عندنا حتى فين نديروه الامين العام. ندير هنا الامين العام باش يصوت. هو الاول اذا من بعد السيد المدير العام، هو الاول من بعد السيد المدير العام، هو الثاني خليه من بعد الميراو صافي بعد الميراو بعد الميراو اوكي مرحبا هاتي دير هادي صافي هادي راه حيدها السير حيد واخا واخا صافي.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السادة
Ladies and gentlemen, guests of the Delegate General of the Penitentiary and Reintegration Administration, we renew our meeting within the framework of the program of the university program in its full about the mechanisms of the integration of residents in light of the new development model. Before starting, I'll ask you, and I ask the guests of the Delegate General of the Penitentiary and the Reintegration to stand up for the Moroccan point.
إذن سادة والسيدات.
So, ladies and gentlemen, our guests, this is the 9th edition of the university program and the second session that is organized according to the in light of all the precautions in the COVID-19. We have more than 150 residents in many institutions, penitentiary institutions, and we have access to this program through YouTube in French, English, and Arabic. And we start the work of this university with the keynotes, and we ask the general delegates of the Penitentiary and Reintegration Administration to give a speech. Peace be upon Muhammad, and greetings to all. His Excellency, the Minister of Education, His Excellency, President of the Court, and the Prosecutor General, and Mr. Wali for Internal Affairs, and Mr. Wali for Human Resources, and Secretary General of Olimas, and Coordinator of Reintegration, and Secretary General of the National Council of Human Rights, Excellencies and Ambassadors, the Ambassador of Belgium, of the Kingdom of Belgium, and the Ambassador of His Excellency of Japan, and Excellency the Ambassador of Italy. Ladies and gentlemen, working within the field of media and civil societies, I would like to welcome the audience who is following this educational meeting, be it remote or in person, in the full program. And I would like to thank you for being here with us and joining us to enable the residents of penitentiary institutions to interact with an elite of scholars and researchers about the mechanisms of integrating residents in light of the new development vision. Ladies and gentlemen, this program within penitentiary institutions that is launched in 2016 within 2 sessions, the spring and fall sessions, residents who have degrees from the university are benefiting from this program, and it became a ground for interaction, and it has a priority for residents as citizens who are getting their education to be integrated in society, and also to be an efficient and law-abiding citizen. And this program consolidates this forum of interaction and ideas, and it is composed by all political forces for the benefit of inmates to enhance their knowledge and to be able to interact with all social affairs, which makes this program get the high patronage of His Majesty King Mohammed VI. And this session is for the well-being of residents and to enhance their situation, and this is a care for this program, and it is an honor for us and for the residents to push forward the situation of residents in those institutions. In this program there are so many subjects cutting across and for the benefit of residents, and we outlined this as the first session, citizenship as an introduction to integration, qualifying residents and what role for the residents, what role of the residents to enhance oneself and to develop one's soul, and what is the definition of integration, and to enhance the innovation skills of residents, and also consolidation of the programs of residents integration. How can we reach this integration? And the seventh session, what solutions? And the eighth one, how can we qualify and rehabilitate inmates? We opted for this theme this time about the mechanisms of the integration of residents in light of the new development vision. And here we have Dr. Bouhabza for being present here with us today, and a member of the special development model, taking into account the challenges and the changes that the kingdom is witnessing, especially after issuing the new development report by the Special Development Commission. I congratulate the president, who is not present here with us today, but I do congratulate Dr. Bouhabza for all the achievements in this regard and within the new governmental program. Ladies and gentlemen, the delegation made sure to adopt this new development vision, and it's prepared a paper about the penitentiary centers, and this commission deals with all data from the institutions and with the challenges pertaining to the management of those institutions, in order to have a better vision that relies on human resources that will enable us to better manage the administration of those institutions within the framework of human rights, and to get rid of all the hurdles that impede the integration of residents, and to avoid all the negative ramifications of the problems in those institutions, like the overcrowded centers, and also the laws that are have to do with the situation of residents, taking into account all those challenges and problems. The delegation contributed, and it relies on the axis fighting crime that is going crescendo, and also to consolidate efforts to get rid of overcrowded prisons, and also to opt for governance within those institutions in terms of management, and to have independence in terms of decision making, and also to bring about all the fundings, necessary funding for the improvement of the situation of residents, and also to humanize those institutions, and to bring support and have a common responsibility, and to level up research, and to encourage all citizens to integrate residents, and to have integrated penitentiary centers and institutions, and to be open to the economics of the society. And this vision relies on this last axis to bring so many workshops that will be productive, and to make of those residents productive citizens, to enable them and to protect their dignity, and to give them an opportunity to have a real impact in their society, and to raise the stigma concerning those residents, and to enable those institutions to render and to have a better job by allocating funds and to bring all the departments of the institutions to contribute to this goal. Those objectives will not be achieved unless everybody is on board, everybody is included, taking into account that all citizens have the same rights, no matter how their belonging or the sentence against them. And this is embodied in the vision of His Majesty the King Mohammed VI. And we should mention, and the consultation of the Commission included all the residents who contributed by writing in this workshop like any other citizen, and they had to discuss so many topics about the Morocco of tomorrow, and this witnessed the participation of so many residents of all sensibilities and of all genders and all educational levels. And there were so many contributions that contributed to this commission, development commission. Ladies and gentlemen, this session of the university sheds light on the integration of residents through 3 sessions. We will deal with only 2. One will shed light on the resident as the main human capital that contributes to development, but the second one will deal with the expectations and the aspirations of those residents concerning the new development model. And they will express themselves through this session, but the 3rd session deals with the delegation to make the institutions as productive spaces and to give opportunity to all residents and contributors to be really productive. And this will be done in line with other parties within the government and the residents. And this university will be followed from far by those residents. I thank you very much, and I thank all our guests for being here with us. This session about university program in penitentiary institutions and all the rehabilitation programs for the benefits of the residents, and to thank them for adhering to this logic and those initiatives. And may God bless us and enable us to go forward in this endeavor under the high patronage of His Majesty King Mohammed II. And thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Delegate General, and we move to the speech of His Excellency Abdel Taif Merawi, Minister of Education and Scientific Research and Innovation. Please, the floor is yours. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings. Mr. Delegate General of Penitentiary and Reintegration Administration, Mr. President of the Court and Mr. President of the Ulema League, Excellencies, Ambassadors, and Mr. the Coordinator of the Mohammed VI Foundation of Reintegration of Residents, ladies and gentlemen, experts, ladies and gentlemen, residents participating to this program, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I would like first to congratulate you because we have the Prophet celebration, and I'm really glad to be here today with you. In this program, in its 9th session that is organized by His Majesty the King under his high patronage, and to discuss the theme that is of utmost importance about the mechanisms of integrating residents in light of the new development vision. And I thank and congratulate the Delegate General for the Penitentiary and Reintegration Administration for his invitation to be here and take part to this meeting. Today I consolidate and I hail this initiative that is supervised and organized by the Delegate General in penitentiary institutions, and this is a cultural step that is crucial to discuss and analyze many themes and challenges pertaining to the reintegration of residents. Ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, the real revolution in our country relies on the human capital. So in order to be able to build this new development model, we need to invest in the human capital through bringing an education of quality, and this development model should be holistic and should rely on all spheres and fields, and all citizens should be regarded equal before this program, and it makes sure to enable residents to have all their rights without any discrimination between those residents and all other Moroccan citizens, especially the right of education, because they went through an experience that deprived them from contributing to bringing the right conditions for their development. And this is very important, and it has a very important role to bring back the dignity of those residents and to integrate them in the social fabric. And in response to the high patronage and directions of His Majesty, we are integrating and encouraging those residents, and they are having their education in all levels of educations according to the legal procedures in place. And we have a priority, especially in coordination with the Ministry of Education, to integrate those residents and to involve all the other parties through so many initiatives aiming to develop residents within penitentiary institutions and to provide all the mechanisms for encouraging education for all those residents. One of those initiatives is the Space of University program that we congratulate and hail today. And this is the fruit of a partnership between the ministry and the general delegation of, and also Mohammed VI Foundation and the University of Mohammed V. This initiative that we hail very much, and we ambition with all the other partners to generalize on all the institutions here in Morocco. Furthermore, we are relying on specific technology to integrate, and we have so many partnerships in this vein between the general delegation and the universities, and we have common workshops concerning the generalization of the use of information technology, and to have the digital pedagogy, and to encourage remote learning. And this will have a very important role to encourage residents to pursue their studies and also to enlarge the scope of education for all residents. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to hail all the efforts deployed by the General Delegation of Penitentiary and Reintegration Administration to reach those noble goals relating to those missions. And I also seize the opportunity to renew and to affirm the contribution of the Minister of Education in setting the basis of reintegrating the residents in those institutions, and to consolidate to empower them and to empower residents in those institutions. And finally, I hope that the works of this meeting will be crowned by success, and I do thank the Delegate General of the Penitentiary and Reintegration Administration for inviting me to be here with you in this meeting, and I thank all the parties who contributed to the organization. And may God empower us to fulfill our duties under His high patronage, His Majesty King Mohammed VI. And thank you very much.
شكرا للسيد وزير التعليم العالي والبحث.
Thank you for these nice words. And I ask Mr. Amrani Boukhobza to give his speech. And it will be on the Special Commission on Development Model. Please, the floor is yours. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings. Mr. Delegate General of the Penitentiary and Reintegration Administration, Mr. His Excellency Minister, and Mr. General Prosecutor, Mr. Secretary General of the League of Ulama, Mr. Secretary General of the National Council of Human Rights, ladies and gentlemen, Excellencies, ambassadors, representatives of media, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really pleased to be here today among us on behalf of Mr. Shakib Ben Moussa, President of the Special Commission on the New Developments Model, to participate to this ninth session within the framework of the university program, and that relies on the mechanisms of integrating residents in light of the new development model. I congratulate the organizers for choosing this topic, and I seize the opportunity to renew our thanks to the officials within the general delegation and to the residents of the institution for their commitment in this process of consultations that were launched by the Commission in order to understand the expectations of citizens regarding the new development model. And I would like to hail the diversity of this program and the contribution of the residents, because so many topics were raised. For instance, building trust, and also human development and justice, and the mechanisms of the evaluation of public policies in line with other issues like the ramifications of the pandemic of COVID-19. Ladies and gentlemen, the report of the Special Commission of Development was presented to His Majesty King Mohammed VI in last May, and this is only a step in a process of development that relies on a vision, a national vision, to reach development in so many fields, and it aspires to reach a real development and prosperity, and to integrate all citizens, and to consolidate their powers, and to make sure to make resources sustainable, along with setting the bases and foundations of economic prosperity for the benefit of all Moroccans, because the human capital is at the core of this ambition. And priority was also given to education and social protection, and the empowerment of the young and women, regarding them as main constituents of the Moroccan society, and also that should be integrated in public policies. Betting on the human capital requires issuing laws that will go hand in hand with the development of healthcare and the quality of all other services. In this report, we had so many recommendations. First, to revitalize the institutions of education in order to have a new generation of well-educated children, and also to empower all parties in education. Second, to have a deep reform in the medical and healthcare field, and to equip all hospitals with the necessary equipment, and to enhance the quality of all healthcare. And also we gave priority to the integration by providing opportunities for all citizens, and to consolidate protection for the social categories that are vulnerable. And we also encourage cultural diversity that will enrich and represent a cement for our society. Well, the territorial space is also pivotal for the social and economic integration. And within this framework, we have so many priorities, among which to rehabilitate and empower the rural areas, and to empower them in order to have a better quality of life, and to provide them with good shelter and good quality services, and to encourage all the initiatives of businesses and entrepreneurship, and to encourage and boost the economy by supporting the economy and give more economic opportunities that will provide employment. And also, ladies and gentlemen, the ultimate goal of this new development model is to bring about hope concerning the future, and to liberate all the powers, be they material or immaterial, in order to make Morocco among the best when it comes to society and the ecological system. And concerning the penitentiary institutions, Moroccan residents have all rights provided or stipulated by the constitution, and that are entrenched in the new development model. And this model is a solid ground for bringing about a new sense of responsibility. And those principles are deeply entrenched in the vision of allowing trust far from any kind of violence or deviation. In line with those values, we have deep reforms that will enrich this model, especially those I mentioned earlier at the beginning of my presentation, that aim at enhancing the life conditions of all citizens and allowing them to have opportunities of integration in the best conditions. And this will level up their feeling of belonging to these countries and will push them towards a better future. And I would like to mention that education and culture and skills acquisition is one of the pillars that we rely upon in order to constitute or push towards a citizen who is responsible. And we rely on this to reintegrate residents within society and to put an end to all reasons for freedom deprivation. And through this program by the delegation is a cornerstone of this vision and program, and we are deep in discussion around this idea. And this is also a space in which people can express themselves concerning their expectations and their futures, in which they will be an integral part of society, a prosperous society, and they will be able to win this challenge. And thank you very much for listening.
شكرا للأستاذ.
Thank you, Mr. Mohamed Abrani Boukhebza from the Special Commission of Development. We as the Delegate General mentioned, there are so many contributions that took place during the consultations, especially when there were so many articles that were oriented to this development commission. I remind you that this delegation received from the residents more than 200 articles in which they discussed their expectations and their vision about the future of Morocco. And the commission chose 34 articles, and they were included in the booklet of the penitentiary center or institution, and they carry a vision about the Morocco of tomorrow. And those residents, they have prizes that will be given and awards to those residents, 10 residents who they were evaluated and congratulated for their efforts. And now we give the floor to the Secretary General of the League of Ulema. Please, the floor is yours.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Ladies and gentlemen, peace be upon the Prophet, Mr. Delegate General of the Penitentiary and Reintegration Administration, Mr. Minister, His Excellency Minister of Education and Research, Mr. Delegate of Judicial Authority, Mr. General Prosecutor, Mr. Wadi, General Coordinator, Mr. Wadi in charge of implementing the National Program on Human Development, Mr. Secretary General Human Rights, Mr. Coordinator of the Foundation of Mohammed VI of reintegration of inmates, ladies and gentlemen, representatives of the diplomatic sector in the kingdom and excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the organizers of this 9 through 8 variables. And among those variables and how they interact in an organic way, we should remind you that those workings are meant to discuss and scrutinize the means of integrating residents within the framework of the new vision of development, and how to use those mechanisms in order to make them ours and to make things right in those institutions. In this equation, the first variable that we should take into account is the human capital, the residents in general. And the general delegation of the Penitentiary and the Reintegration Administration, well, it worked on dealing with all the classes and all categories that can be included in this, what we call the residents. And they are all have characteristics, special characteristics, and they can be divided into so many categories according to the reasons for which they came to these institutions. So there are so many studies, and those studies, they cover the veiled side of this affair. And this is why we ask this question, and this is the most important variable in this equation. Of course, we talk about integration because this is an activity. The rehabilitation and reintegration, it's not mechanical, but it is an activity that takes into account all the dimensions that constitute the human capital. The first one has to do with the existence of the inmates. The second one has to do with the ideology or the thoughts of the inmates, and the third one the spiritual side of this person. And the fourth one is related to the social side and the interactions with society. And also, there are other dimensions that have to do with all what is material and how we control and manage and implement all those variables. And this is through trainings that are provided within this institution, this blessed institutions. We have another variable that is the society that we are trying to prepare the residents to be integrated in. And we need to understand the needs of the society. And within this new development framework, which is a blessed effort, well, it leads us to understand and elucidate those needs in order to be able to empower those residents and to prepare the programs that will meet the needs of this society that in which we are aspiring to integrate the inmates. So through this vision that is governing this integration operation that we're working on through studying and developing the mechanisms that will enable us to integrate the residents in light of this vision. So what are the resources, the human resources that we should deploy or that are able to develop those mechanisms and own them for the purpose of this integration? So who are those parties? In order to have an added value for the society, and also what are the logistic resources that we can resort to in order to implement this program, and what are the strategies and the laws and all the policies that can enable us to opt for these reforms and implement them. So the issue has to do with a process. It's not static. It is a process and it is ongoing in time. Of course, the instance within the delegation that is qualified, with whom I have the honor to deal with directly, try to analyze these data and to set and define the mechanisms that can be developed in this vein in order to integrate the residents, of course. Although we have competences within the penitentiary, it is open to other competences and skills and parties in society that we shouldn't call outside parties, but we should functionally call them outside in order to reach a common awareness of those mechanisms and to make them move forward and to be synchronized like in symphony. It will be orchestrated. We cannot afford to have each instrument playing on its part, but we have a symphony and orchestra, and we are trying to have a symbiosis of all the instruments at once and giving a fine tune and a harmony among all those parties. Our dream behind this 9th session is to bring about and to call for all those parties and contributors and to develop those mechanisms and to start and to launch the implementation of those mechanisms. Of course, I would like to wrap up by saying that all those issues, thanks to God, have been treated within the framework of the new development vision. And here we have a burden, but at the same time we have a support that is really valuable, from which we should have our draw our strength. And I wish you all the luck and success, and thanks to God. Thank you very much.
شكرا.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary General of the League of Ulema, and I ask the coordinator of the foundation of Mohammed VI of reintegrating residents to take the floor.
السلام عليكم.
Ladies and gentlemen, greetings. Peace be upon the prophets.